What's up, faithful? It's another episode of the 49ers Web Zone No Huddle podcast, a part of the Odyssey Network. We've got Zain, we've got Al, but guys, more importantly, no offense, gentlemen, we've got a very special guest. I am so thrilled. I know Zain is as well. We were talking off air about the music that we listened to hype us up in high school sports. For Zain, it was football and baseball. We are very, very thrilled to welcome 49ers fan and lead singer, Kobe Dick, Mr. Dick if you're nasty, Jacoby Shaddix, lead singer of Papa Roach. Jacoby, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for your time.
Dude? What's good, man? Good to see y'all. Zain, Brian, Al,
Yes.
guys. What's up, No Huddle, dude? I'm stoked to be on here, man. And bang, bang, Niner gang. You know that.
That's right. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Love it,
Bang,
love it,
bang,
love it.
Niner gang. Come on, dude. 40 killed it with that track, dude.
Absolutely. So, Jacoby, I know you guys are currently touring with Shine Down, and we've got some questions for you about the tour and the band. But with this being a 49ers podcast, we wanted to start with the Niners. You've got that Niner flag behind you. We love it. What got you into football and specifically the 49ers? Was that something you started as a fan as a kid, or how'd you get into that?
So my stepdad was a Steelers fan.
Oh.
And so he always had football going on, on the television. And we were living in NorCal at the time. And all my friends were wearing the Niners jerseys to school. And I'm like, what's up with this team? The Niners, let's check those guys out. And it was just watching those dudes win, right? This is in the Montana era of the 49ers. And just fell in love, obviously, because we're going to the Super Bowl and we're whooping everybody's tail. We got some of the best cats in football on the team. Roger Craig, Dwight Clark. You got, I've fallen in love with different eras of the 49ers throughout the years. And, but that was the beginning for me. Now fast forward, my friend got me a Christmas gift one year. It's the Catch. And it's Dwight
awesome.
Clark, signed it on a football. Rest in peace, Dwight. One of the greatest. You know what I mean? And I got a love affair with this team, man. And I'm faithful to the Bay, dude. That's where
Go.
And I'm so excited about this season, man. And this coming Sunday, I'm just like, I want to watch, but I have to work. Oh. I'm gonna turn my phone off and don't check any updates. But yeah, long and the short of it, man, I've been a Niners fan since I was a young kid.
Outstanding,
man. And as Brian said in the open, I gotta thank you, man, because you were solely responsible for motivating like a room full of 50 dudes to go out there and kick some ass in my high school football games. Every single game. I kid you not. The last song that we listened to was Last Resort before we went out. That was the last song. And by the way, that was the turn up song. And you know what? The rest of the album was dope too. The album was absolute fire. That first album that you guys dropped, it was amazing. And it's just so cool to be talking to you right now. It's such a surreal moment for me. But I gotta ask, like you said you fell in love with many different Niners players and many different generations. But like, who were some of your favorite players of the past and present that you can kind of like tell us about? You kind of went in a little bit Roger Craig and these guys as well. But like, who are some of the guys that really stuck out to you that you really kind of attach yourself to?
I was Tom Rathman early on.
Yes.
He was just like the man. And, he just had that big old neck roll, dude. And he would just run straight downhill, run through people's faces. He was a Nebraska Cornhusker, and that's just like some hard-nosed football out there. And it really fit in line with the style of play that the Niners bring, and it's just straight up the gut, and just, hey, what's that, Jay? Sorry, one of my road crew dudes popped in. Just straight running the ball straight through your face. And he was a badass. Plus, he was great in the flats too, man. He just run out there and get that catch. Good on third down. And so he was one of my favorites early on. Obviously, Joe Montana, QB, he was just a legend. And then he passed the torch to Steve Young, which was dope. But early on, it was Tom Rathman. That was the guy. Like, I played football. It was like Pee Wee football, and I wanted to run the ball so bad, but they're like, nah, dude, you're a guard. You're a pulling guard. So I can't have number 44. They're like, nah, dude. Nah.
Oh,
awesome. Jacoby, you talked about watching them win Super Bowls, and we're close to the same age. So I was the same way, growing up, winning. And last few years, they've been so close. And it's been so frustrating. I know you're an emotional guy. I'm an emotional guy as a fan, right? We get into it. When you look at this season, is it boom or bust with the Super Bowl for you this year in this team?
I think it's. I did a prediction for, I can't remember who it was for, some kind of like beginning of the year type thing, like my prediction for the Niners, and I say Super Bowl bound, straight up, dude. I think we got what it takes, man. If Purdy can stay healthy, you know, it's like our offense is firing, our defense, dude, is just in. Nick Bosa just signed. I think it was today, or maybe
officially today. Yes.
Signed. And so our defense is freaking savage, and we're definitely a contender. And I always, you know, set the bar high for the Niners because I think we got what it takes, man. I think we're Super Bowl bound, straight up.
I love it. Love it. You mentioned Nick Bosa. I'll be perfectly honest. We had an episode drop the day before news dropped that he signed that extension, and all of us were very, very, very concerned. Were you worried that those issues would go into the season, or did you have faith that they'd get it done and he'd be on the field in week 1?
I mean, I think within the organization, I knew that they wanted to get it done. You know, it's like, and the dude's worth it. He's a badass, dude.
100%.
You know, it's like, there's a reason why, like, a 10-year-old that likes football, my little guy Brixton loves football. There's a reason why he's wearing Nick Bosa's jersey around at school. You know what I mean? It's like, he is an impressive defensive player, and he slays, and he's been such an integral part of the team since he first joined. And so, you know, it's just like that same scare, right? Like, I think it was last year with Debo, you know, it's like, oh, don't go Debo. No. Like, I see you wearing a 19 right there. Oh,
yep.
That dude is like, you know, he's another one of my favorites. Golly, they're all my favorite. I'm like the kind of guy now, it's grown for me where it's like, I'm on the Niners website, like watching the like deep cuts and the interviews from all the players now. And it's like, I'm getting a little too obsessed.
No such thing.
You're not too obsessed until you have a podcast. That's when you know you're a little bit too obsessed like us. But
hey, dude, I'm an honorary member now today. So
absolutely,
100% today and forevermore.
Yes.
So Jacoby, I got to ask you, you know, a band's a lot like a team in that it's tough to stay together. It's tough to have prolonged success. And here you are in Papa Roach. You guys have been successful for decades now. Decades. Why do you think you've been able to stand the test of time as a band?
I'd say this was my mission since I was like 16, even younger than that. Like that was that vision that I had, that drive and that passion towards this. And I found other dudes that wanted to do the same thing, that were just as kind of crazy and almost like had delusions of grandeur. Like, I'm going to be a rock star. And then all of a sudden I find myself in that position, and it's like, all right, now I want to stay doing this. And so it's been a lot of sacrifice. You know, we all have families back home, and we miss them dearly. Miss them so much. I brought my little son out on the road with me out there on this tour. You know, I was like, I'm not leaving you at home. We're doing this. But you know, it's like, I got brothers in this band that believe in the vision, and we haven't given up when times were kind of tough. And, you know, because we've had some really highs in our career and some really lows. And there's been moments where I'm like, man, are we supposed to pack this thing up? And, you know, then we go back out on tour and we just see the people coming out and singing our songs right back at us on stage. And I'm like, nah, the story isn't done being told. And, you know, plus the music, it's like, we're writing music that's still connecting. You know, we've had 2 number ones on this new record, and that blows my mind. You know, we've been doing this since 1993 and dropped our first big album in 2000. And we're still writing music that is topping the rock chart. And that is like, what more could I ask for?
Talking with Jacoby Shaddix of Papa Roach. And what were some of your musical inspirations kind of that led you to where you are today? And second part of that question, I guess, is who do you listen to today? Like, what do you like to listen to?
So early on, it was like bands like Metallica was a big inspiration on Jerry, our guitar player. I was a huge Faith No More fan. And so Faith No More really inspired me to kind of be very adventurous as a writer and creator of music. And Red Hot Chili Peppers was an early influence, Wu-Tang Clan, Social Distortion. I loved punk rock, but then I also loved metal, loved Guns N' Roses as well early on. But now, my musical taste is always changing. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Beartooth. There's another band called Sleep Token that I've been digging. There's a band called Spirit Box that's out on tour with us right now. Those guys are bringing something new. Female fronted, she's a badass. Bring Me the Horizon is another group that I really like. And then I find myself going back to those 90s hip hop classics, some early E40, Tribe Called Quest. And I'm all over the map when it comes to music. And then I'm listening to this, just like New Music Friday, like what drops. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. I'm like, it ain't because I'm old. It's just because some of this new stuff just sucks.
Yeah.
Fair.
I don't know.
I know. I totally agree, man. It's not the same, right? It's music isn't the same. I don't want to sound like old or anything, but it's not the same as it was before. But I have to ask you, man, like, so what does it feel like when you're out there going in front of a stadium full of people, much like athletes, right? Where you're just in front of a stadium full of fans, you step out of that stage and you see the endless sea of people out there. What does that feel like? Is that still a rush for you after all these years?
Oh yeah. It is my drug of choice.
Yeah.
11, almost 12 years ago, I quit drinking booze and treating myself like crap, so I had to kind of come up with a new passion. And all along this rock and roll thing was there, but it was kind of always in the back seat because I was all about the party. And then when I changed that up, it was like, I realized like this high that I get when I get on stage, it's like nothing else. I got to tell you, this one time I was invited down to the stadium, to Levi's Stadium, and I was asked if I would go blow the foghorn.
Oh, blow the foghorn, yeah.
Dude, I had never been so nervous in my life ever. I was like, first off, they put me on camera. I'm on like Dante Whitner, Takeo Spikes, and Joe Staley. Joe comes up to me, shakes my hand, tells me he loves our song Scars. I'm like, I didn't even know. I'm like super. Like, I don't get starstruck, man, but when I meet some of them Niners, I'm just like, yeah.
I love it.
It was great. It was a great moment. I was terrified though. I was like, don't screw this up, dude. You can't screw this up. It's the Niners.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I met Joe Staley years ago, and I'm about 6 foot tall, and I got a picture with him. And I mean, I'm up to like his shoulder, man. Like, yeah, dude is just huge. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy seeing these guys in person,
Monster.
So Jacoby, I was saying earlier, I've heard you say that you're an emotional guy, and I mean that comes through in your lyrics.
Oh yeah.
When you write a song and you're putting that emotion into words, is that cathartic for you? Do you feel relief, or is it exhausting? What is that process like for you to really sit down and write an emotional song like you do?
I mean, it's definitely cathartic, and it's me working my way through those feelings and understanding them. And I think I'm just so grateful that I found that way to express myself, because before it was like I just stuff. And, I think as like a modern man, it's like, I think that's the next evolution in manhood is like, being in touch with our feelings and understanding our emotions, but then also still being a badass, and having that balance and not just stuffing everything away like earlier generations were told to do. I think it just rears its head in some really bad ways. And so it's me just kind of wrestling with that ball of yarn that I got going on, and it's like every day I got a shot of trying to like untangle some knots, and music has been a key element for me to be able to do that, and to connect with people and really realize that it's a beautiful thing when you feel like when you're walking through something that's just tearing you apart and you realize like there's thousands of other people that are feeling that exact same way, that have been through it, that have overcome it, that have stepped up. For me, putting down the bottle, drinking was like a major like hurdle in my life. And I wrote a lot about that and the growth that I experienced in like clearing away the wreckage of all that stuff and like just being a free man, and then I go and travel the world and meet people that are saying, hey man, like your story has inspired me to put down the drink. Your stories inspired me to chase a spiritual life. And that's not what I intended in the beginning, but wow, like what a wild gift it is to write songs and to connect through that with people.
You said earlier that you guys started as a band in 1993, which, quick math, that is exactly 30 years ago, which is wild. And then you said that that first album came out in 2000. That is the year I graduated high school. I remember that album vividly. I live in the Sacramento area, so it was almost like, hey, we got
my neighbor, dude.
Yeah, right. We were like, hey, this band from Vacaville, right? It's essentially just just our neighbors, but.
Yep.
Do you feel like, a lot of times a band, their first album is almost, the cornerstone of who they are. You mentioned Guns N' Roses, right? Appetite for Destruction. That album is incredible. And I think a lot of times it's because, that album came out 7 years after you guys became a band. Yep. Then you hit it big, and then it's like, oh, what's the next record going to be? When's it going to come out? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like the writing of music for you guys has changed a lot since then? Obviously the content of the lyrics and with all that life experience, but is the process still pretty similar for you guys, or what does that look like for you?
It has evolved a lot through the years, and in a lot of different ways, good ways and bad ways. I think we used to be just 4 of us in a 10 by 10 room and just jam until our ears bled, we just went for it. And that's how we wrote like a lot of our early material. Our first like 3 to 4 albums were just us in a room, just smashing it out. And then once we kind of jumped into the world of taking advantage of the technology at hand, then we were on the road with these recording studios. All of a sudden we had recording studios on our computers, and we're like, oh snap, this can change things. And so if there's a way I could explain it, it's like, all of a sudden, when you're in a room jamming, it's a 4-lane highway, right? There's 4 instruments playing at the same time. Whereas when you're writing a record or writing music in a studio environment, all of a sudden it's a 1-lane highway. Only one thing is happening at a time. And so sometimes you could be overcritical of a part that's happening and just overthink yourself and not really understand the momentum that's happening creatively. And it has its advantages and its disadvantages. And so we choose now to create both ways, right? So we'll go in and we call it shedding wood, and we'll go shed wood with each other for like 2 weeks and just jam and just record all the jams and just see if there's some great moments in there. And then we'll take those pieces, and that'll be kind of the Kickstarter to, what we're going to create. And then we'll take it into the studio and then bring it down to that 1-lane highway again, where we're just putting one thing, one piece of information, one guitar riff at a time, one bass riff at a time, and take it like that. So yeah, man, I mean, long-winded answer, but yes, it has evolved tremendously. And, the lyrical content is another thing. It's just a reflection of where I'm at in my life, what's happening in the lives around me, what's happening in the world, and distill that down into something and try to make sense of it.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are on tour right now with Shinedown. I know you guys have a show tonight.
Yeah.
Again, been a band for 30 years. What are we at? Nine albums now?
There's 11 albums.
11 albums. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking over, 100 songs to choose from when you put together a set list for a tour like this. Can you take us a little bit into kind of what that process looks like? What are you guys thinking about when you're putting a set list together? Does it ever change mid-tour, or what does that look like?
So we'll go and we'll look on the streaming services, right? And we'll see like what songs in the last like 6 months have really just been streaming, right? What are the fans listening to? And obviously they're going to be listening to the hits. So we got to play the hits and the ones that really stick, right? The classics. So we're playing Last Resort, Scars, Getting Away with Murder. Those are like staples. And then from there, it's like, all right, we see that they're actually playing this track, She Loves Me Not, off our second record. And so we hadn't played that one in years. But it started trending on some social media platforms. And then we're like, all right, we're bringing it back into the set. And we brought it back into the set. And I didn't want to play it, but the fans wanted it, you know? And so I like, you got to give the people what they want. You know, people got a choice what to do with their money. Right. And when somebody chooses to come to a Papa Roach show and spend their money on a concert ticket, I want them to leave feeling like they got their money's worth. They got what they came for, you know, and that's playing the hits, man, and playing what they're spending on the streaming services. And so we really pay attention to that. That's a big part of us, you know, and it's a battle too. It's like, you know, egos get involved, egos get hurt. Sometimes I don't get to do what I want. You know, I didn't want to play She Loves Me Hot, but we're playing it and it's like people are digging it. So I'm like, all right, cool, here you go.
All right.
I'm gonna play the shit out of this one for y'all.
Love it. Love it.
Jacoby, it was an honor, man. You got an open invite anytime you want to come and talk football.
Oh, dude, I got to tell you, man, we should do this again because my bass player is insanely obsessed with the 49ers. Like,
oh yeah,
kind of quiet about it, you know. But when we start talking, I'm like, oh, dude, you know everything about the night. I'm like, but dude, you got to get him on one time. I know he'd love to talk football with you guys, dude, and I'd love to join again, man, for real. You know, maybe
I'll give Becky my cell number to you to give to you guys, and we'll set it up.
Perfect, man. That sounds great. It was awesome chatting with you guys, man, for real.
Hey, the honor was all ours, Jacoby.
Thank you for your music. Thank you for everything.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Thank you.
Peace out, y'all.
Later.